Today, I've got a bone-chilling tale straight from the trenches of World War I. Picture this: a soldier, alone in the dead of night, encounters a ghostly presence lurking in the shadows. Can you handle the spine-tingling suspense of these terrifying encounters? Welcome to a world where fear and the unknown loomed large. The trenches of World War I. Trench soldiers not only faced the horrors of war but also supernatural encounters that defied explanation. Imagine the eerie whispers, ghostly figures, and unexplained phenomena that haunted these brave souls in the midst of battle. The whispers in the trenches. In the eerie stillness of a moonless night, Private James found himself alone on sentry duty. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the distant sound of artillery fire and the occasional scurrying of rats. Suddenly, he heard something else, faint whispers. "James." The voice was barely audible yet unmistakably clear. He spun around, flashlight in hand, but saw nothing. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, speaking in languages he couldn't understand. Sometimes it was English, sometimes German, and other times a language that seemed ancient, lost to time. His heart pounded as cold sweat dripped down his back. He called out, hoping it was one of his comrades playing a cruel joke, but no answer came. The whispers continued, relentless, weaving through the air like a sinister lullaby. Each word seemed to carry a weight of sorrow and despair, as if the voices were those of the countless souls who had perished in the trenches. The whispers grew in intensity, becoming almost deafening. Shadows danced at the edge of his vision, and he could feel an oppressive presence closing in on him. Panic surged through him as he stumbled through the trench, desperate to escape the unseen tormentors. When the first light of dawn finally broke, the whispers abruptly ceased, leaving behind an oppressive silence. James was left standing, shaken and exhausted, questioning his sanity. Had he really heard the voices of the dead, or was it just the product of his war-weary mind? The experience left an indelible mark on James, a chilling reminder of the supernatural horrors that could arise in the most unlikely of places. Ghostly apparitions. Corporal Harris had heard the stories of ghostly apparitions in the trenches, but never believed them until he experienced it himself. On a foggy night, the air thick with tension, Harris was on patrol, moving cautiously through the labyrinthine trenches. He noticed a shadowy figure moving ahead, its form barely discernible in the dense fog. Thinking it was a lost soldier, he called out, but the figure did not respond. It continued to move, gliding through the air. As Harris drew closer, the figure turned slightly, revealing a featureless face with eyes that seemed to glow faintly. Harris froze in terror, his heart pounding. The apparition floated silently past him, sending a chill down his spine. His legs felt rooted to the ground as the ghostly figure drifted further into the fog, fading from sight. The encounter left Harris shaken, haunted by the spectral figure that seemed to drift between the worlds of the living and the dead. For weeks, he could not shake the feeling of dread. The story of his encounter spread through the ranks, becoming another eerie legend of the trenches. The ghostly figure remained a permanent fixture in his nightmares, a chilling reminder of the thin veil between life and death. The Phantom Touch. Sergeant Thompson was known for his bravery, but nothing had prepared him for the touch of the unseen. One quiet night, as he crouched in a deserted section of the trench, he felt an icy hand grip his shoulder. He spun around, expecting to see a fellow soldier, but found only empty air. The cold touch remained, squeezing tighter, as if warning him of some impending doom. Panic surged through him, and he stumbled back, heart racing. He tried to rationalize the experience, convincing himself it was just his mind playing tricks. But the touch had felt real, too real to dismiss. Every night afterward, Thompson dreaded being alone in the trenches, fearing the return of the phantom grip. His fellow soldiers noticed the change in him. His once steady hands now trembled, and his confident demeanor was replaced with a wary, haunted look. The phantom grip vanished as suddenly as it had appeared, but the memory of that ghostly touch haunted Thompson. It was a chilling reminder of the unseen forces that lurked in the shadows, forces that seemed to mock his bravery and challenge his understanding of reality. The trenches were not just a battlefield. They were a place where the line between the living and the dead blurred, leaving even the bravest souls with lingering fear. The moving objects. Private Lewis prided himself on his rational mind, but that night, all reason fled. As he sat in a cramped section of the trench, he watched in disbelief as his rifle, propped against the trench wall, slowly lifted into the air before dropping back down with a clatter. His heart pounded as he stared at the seemingly possessed weapon, struggling to comprehend what he had just witnessed. Other objects followed suit. Helmets, canteens, even a tin of biscuits, levitating and then crashing to the ground. Each movement seemed deliberate, as if an unseen force was toying with him. The air grew cold, and an oppressive sense of dread enveloped him. He felt like he was being watched, though he could see no one. Lewis's attempts to rationalize the phenomenon failed. The fear was palpable, an oppressive force that seemed to mock his sense of reality. Was it the spirits of fallen soldiers, or something far more malevolent? The experience left him with an unshakable sense of dread and a newfound belief in the supernatural. The trenches, already a place of unimaginable horror, now harbored a sinister presence that defied all explanation. Lewis would never forget the night when the physical and supernatural worlds collided in the heart of the battlefield. The ominous specter. In the darkest hours before dawn, Lieutenant Foster found himself face to face with a specter that defied all logic. He had been on patrol, moving silently through a deserted section of the trench, when he noticed a figure cloaked in darkness, standing motionless. The figure's eyes glowed faintly, casting an eerie light in the gloom. Foster's breath caught in his throat as he realized the figure was not one of his men. The specter slowly turned to him, its gaze piercing through the veil of night. Foster felt a chill run down his spine, his heart pounding in his chest. He tried to call out, but his voice was lost in the oppressive silence. The figure seemed to hover, its presence both terrifying and mesmerizing. Time seemed to stand still as Foster stared into its glowing eyes. Then, with a final, chilling glance, the specter vanished, dissolving into the shadows. The encounter left Foster deeply unsettled, plagued by nightmares of the ghostly figure. He could not shake the feeling that the specter was trying to convey a message, a warning from the beyond. The line between the living and the dead had blurred, leaving an indelible mark on his soul. The trenches were not just a battlefield. They were a place where the past and present collided, and where the souls of the fallen still lingered, haunting the memories of those who survived. As we wrap up these spine-tingling tales, remember the lasting impact of these supernatural encounters on the brave trench soldiers of World War I. Their stories serve as a reminder of the enduring nature of fear and the unknown, even in the most dire of circumstances. If you've got your own spooky story to share or want more terrifying tales from history, drop them in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more hair-raising content that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the dark corners of history.